Your spirit is on the edge of a final verdict. This was never just a delay, it's disobedience. Open your heart and act now before the heavens record your surrender as failure. In this sacred hour, the Spirit hovers, not casually, not quietly, but with thunder in the wings. There is a trembling in the unseen, a vibration in the heavens that declares, the moment of divine verdict is drawing near. The line between delay and disobedience is no longer blurred, it is exposed. This is not about patience anymore. This is about posture. This is not the quiet stillness of waiting. This is the paralyzing stillness of rebellion. And the Spirit of the living God does not remain silent when rebellion is dressed as wisdom. In this final watch of the Spirit, heaven weighs obedience against hesitation, and the weight of your delay is tipping the scale. Not because you are forgotten, but because you are being watched. The eyes of the Lord search the earth, looking for those whose hearts are fully His. Not partially, not almost, not I'm just waiting for confirmation. No, fully His. And in this moment, your hesitation has begun to echo louder than your prayers. There is something sacred about this stillness, but not all stillness is holy. Heaven records not your excuses, but your intentions. You can't hide indecision behind worship. You can't mask rebellion with reverence. The Spirit of truth whispers, even now. This is not a pause, it's a test. And some are failing it not by action but by inaction. Why delay? By silence. By folding their arms while their destiny knocks, again and again. You must understand, this message is not for the many. This is not a general word. It is not a crowd prophecy. This is for the one who, even now, feels the heat rise in their chest, the tightening in their spirit, the weight that says, "This is me." If that is you, then you are the one heaven has targeted with this warning. Yes, this warning is mercy. Yes, is Gregorian and Protegian. But it will not repeat itself. Before you act, silence the noise. Cut through the lies. Dismantle the delay. Heaven is not interested in how much you plan. Heaven is watching what you choose. The angels are not recording your ideas. They are recording your obedience. And this record will not remain open forever. The scroll is unrolled. The ink is wet. The Spirit is watching. Your surrender is being measured, not by what you said you'd do, but by what you actually do now. Type "I am ready" if you receive this message. Blessing code 777 is now activated. Hear now, child of the Most High, for your name has reached the threshold of divine record. Your spirit hath been summoned to this moment not by coincidence, but by consequence. Before the sun sets on this message, the heavens will seal what you have chosen. Yes, before the next dawn kisses the earth, your name will either be recorded in the book of obedience or the scroll of surrender. This is not a word for the curious. This is a divine interruption for the called. You were not meant to hear this, yet heaven forced this message into your path. It was not in your algorithm, not on your schedule, but it was in God's scroll. The divine knew your hesitation was reaching critical mass. The delay you dressed in logic is turning into a no that you never spoke, but heaven heard it anyway. That's why this word found you. Because time, as you've known it, has expired. And still you wait. Still you stall. Still you hope that the heavens will adjust to your comfort. But I, Michael, guardian of heavenly justice and voice of the righteous verdict, have come to announce. The Spirit has disrupted your timeline. You are not late. You are in danger of being locked out. You are on the edge of a final verdict, and the scrolls are being written. The ink is at the edge of your name. But heaven, in great mercy, has halted the angelic pen for one final chance. Yes, one final pause. A breath before the sealing. This is not just a message. This is a summons. The throne room has whispered your name. The angels have stood still. And your hesitation has drawn attention not just from heaven, but from hell. Hell hopes you delay a little longer. Hell hopes you wait for more clarity. Hell hopes you confuse stillness with safety. But heaven is not silent. It is sounding alarms in the realm of the Spirit. Feel it. The ground beneath your soul is trembling. The earth beneath your destiny is shifting. You feel that knot in your chest, that burning in your heart. Not anxiety, child. That's holy weight. That's divine pressure. That's the fear of the Lord calling you out of comfort. You are not being judged yet, but you are being watched. Not for what you boast, not for what you preach, but for what you do next. Look around. Nothing will make sense until you answer the call. Look within. Every delay is a decision. Every silence is an answer. Look up. The heavens are wide open, waiting, watching, weighing. And now, the time has come to decide. Will you obey or will you rationalize? Will you rise or will you fold under the weight of your own reasoning? This is not just warning. This is mercy, dressed in fire. This is not fear. This is favor, wrapped in correction. And this is not pressure from man. This is a summoning from God. So let the trembling begin. Let the discomfort stretch you. Let the tears fall, if they must. Let the silence of heaven break open your excuses. Because now, it is your name, your calling, your test. You are standing on the edge of divine verdict. The Spirit is not playing games with your delay anymore. This is the file shaking before the shifting. This is the last call before the record is closed. Type "I hear you, Lord" in the comments if you receive this word. Lesson code 444 is now surrounding your house. There is a trembling mystery hidden beneath your hesitation, a sacred disturbance behind your delay. Your mind whispers, "Wait," but your spirit roars, "Move." This conflict is not confusion, it is confrontation. Heaven is confronting the gap between your intention and your obedience. You have prayed for clarity, but the answer was already clear. Only your courage was lacking. And now, the Spirit of the Lord presses upon you. Someone, somewhere, is benefiting from your hesitation. Every moment you stall, every day you delay, someone else inches closer to what was marked with your name. You have mistaken this tension for indecision, but it is spiritual warfare disguised as patience. You feel the uneasiness, that sense of being out of alignment, that quiet awareness that something has shifted in the atmosphere. This is not imagination. This is not paranoia. The ground beneath your spirit has moved, but you have stayed still. Heaven's calendar advanced, but your feet did not. And because of this, there is a divine unrest within you. That is why your sleep hath been heavy, your thoughts unsettled, your heart strangely restless. It is the mark of heaven calling you out of disobedience dressed as waiting. Listen carefully. They think you are silent, but heaven has heard every sigh. They think you have forgotten, but the angels have seen every tear. They think you are passive, but the Spirit has felt your trembling. You are not invisible. You are being observed. But the observation is not of your plans, it is of your postponement. The records of heaven are not collecting your intentions, they are weighing your delays. This is why you feel watch, because you are the watchers of the unseen realm, both holy and unholy, have their eyes upon this moment. Hell wants to claim your hesitation as surrender. Heaven wants to crown your obedience as faith. You stand between verdicts, and the tipping point is not time, it is your choice. The spiritual realm has shifted. The old excuses no longer hold weight. Yet you hesitate, hoping the atmosphere will wait for you. It will not. The Spirit's wind moves swiftly, and it is your responsibility to move with it. Who told you to pause when heaven commanded go? Who whispered later when God said now? That voice you thought was wisdom may have been the whisper of delay, the seduction of sabotage disguised as prudence. You must test the voices you've been obeying. You must question the comfort that keeps you from movement. Because delay is no longer neutral, it is betrayal of your own calling. You sense the unease because your spirit knows the truth. This waiting is not holy, it is costly. The stillness is not peace, it is poison. This pause is not patience, it is a trap. And the heavens have brought you to this message to tear the mask from the lie. The Spirit of the Lord is unveiling your hesitation so that it cannot masquerade as wisdom any longer. Now the choice stands before you, not hidden, not vague, not optional. Heaven watches not what you plan, but what you postpone. The ink is still wet, the scroll unsealed, but the clock is racing toward its close. You are being observed, weighed, and summoned all at once. The question is not, will God move? The question is, will you? Type I will move in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1212 is now active and encircling your next step. Beloved, this is the moment when heaven is awakening hearts and calling them back to obedience. Every video, every word, every prophetic summons you hear here is not just content. It is a lifeline for souls standing at the edge of a verdict. By sowing into this work, you are not helping us. You are helping God reach others just like you, souls who need a word before the door closes. The scriptures say, "He who waters will himself be watered," and as you release your seed, rivers of life and favor begin to flow back into your own house. This is the time to act prophetically. I am speaking now to those who feel the nudge to stand with us. Your giving is not a donation. It is a response to heaven's call. Your seed becomes light, oil, and manna for someone else's moment of rescue. Links to sow and stand with this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description are there for you right now. Step into this prophetic act and release your gift, and may God multiply it back to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. This is not punishment. This is proving. This is not rejection. This is revelation. The war you are feeling within is not between God's silence and your confusion. It is the collision of two forces, divine timing and human resistance. And make no mistake, the conflict you feel is spiritual. The delay was not just a slowdown. It became a seduction. What was once a pause has morphed into a prison. And now the Spirit of the Lord pulls back the veil to show you the battlefield that your delay created. You thought you were just waiting. But delay has a voice, and it has been whispering. Whispering that time is on your side. Whispering that the door will always be open. Whispering that you can obey later. But those whispers were not from God. They were carefully crafted weapons of the enemy, sharpened with your own fears, dipped in your own wounds, and released with perfect timing to make you comfortable in disobedience. Delay sings a lullaby to your spirit. It soothes your calling to sleep. It tells you you're being wise, you're waiting on confirmation, you're protecting yourself. But in the spirit realm, those lullabies are warfare. Because every time you ignore the nudge to move, a gate that was meant for you grows rusted. And now, you're not just behind schedule, you're in the crossfire of a spiritual war disguised as indecision. The enemy is not always loud. He doesn't always roar. Sometimes, he whispers, "Just wait a little longer." He doesn't need to destroy your faith. He only needs to distract it. Because distraction is a slow death. It numbs you without your permission. It steals your moments while you're still praying for signs. It turns your once burning purpose into cold ashes of maybe someday. But God is not fooled. Heaven has not misread the situation. And that's why this message found you, because the Spirit of the Lord is now confronting the deception. Your delay is no longer passive. It is now being measured, not to condemn you, but to wake you. Heaven is not angry with you, but heaven is no longer silent. The scroll is open. The angelic scribes are waiting. And you are being weighed not by how much you love God, but by how quickly you obey Him. The chosen cannot live like the comfortable. The anointed cannot hesitate like the average. Your calling is not casual, it is costly. And with that mantle comes heavy judgment when obedience is traded for convenience. Yes, you are loved. Yes, you are forgiven. But now you are being evaluated. The silence between your choices is being recorded. The moments you dismissed as not now are being counted by the throne as resistance, not reverence. This is the weight of your calling. This is the burden of the chosen. Heaven sees what man overlooks. Heaven hears what your mouth never says. And heaven responds not to your promises, but to your movement. Your yes has weight. Your delay has consequence. The atmosphere shifts when you obey, and stagnates when you pause. So understand, this is not coincidence. This is confrontation. God is confronting the comfort that has become your cage. He is confronting the fear that has worn the mask of discernment. He is confronting the disobedience you've painted as wisdom. And He is doing it now, because the longer you wait, the harder your heart becomes to move. You are standing in the center of divine evaluation. This is not punishment. This is a test of alignment. It's not about speed, it's about surrender. Not about perfection, it's about posture. And even now, heaven is still ready to shift on your behalf, but not without your obedience. Move with heaven or be moved by what heaven removes. Type "I choose obedience" in the comments if this word has exposed what you've called a delay. Blessing code 888 is now covering your obedience like a shield. Hear this clearly now, the patience of heaven is a clock. It does not tick with earthly hours, but it pulses with prophetic timing. And that timing is nearing its threshold. This is not a warning to stir fear. It is a trumpet to stir urgency. For the heavens are not waiting endlessly. Here is a door, and the hand of the Lord is already on its handle. Within 72 hours, you will feel it. A shift, a silence, a closing. It will not announce itself with fanfare, but with finality. And what was once wide open will narrow. What was once accessible will begin to resist. You are in the last breath before the divine portal adjusts to someone else's obedience. Let it be said plainly, The space you were meant to occupy does not remain empty forever. The Spirit of the Lord will not allow purpose to be wasted for long. If the one called delays too long, the mantle finds another. If the one chosen turns inward, another steps forward. You were called, yes, but your calling does not lock heaven into your timeline. Heaven's plan is sacred, but it is not stagnant. You can forfeit by standing still, and when that forfeiture is written, it will not be in the ink of punishment, but in the handwriting of silence. Do not confuse God's patience with passivity. He has waited. He has whispered. He has sent confirmations, signs, and even delays to shake you awake. But if this warning does not stir you to motion, your stillness will no longer be seen as waiting. It will be recorded as surrender. And surrender, in the realm of obedience, is not peace. It is abandonment. It is the moment when heaven writes past over where it once wrote promised. A storm is not coming from outside. The storm is already brewing within. That pressure in your chest, that unrest in your prayers, that sudden awareness that you've been circling the same place for too long. That is not anxiety. That is prophecy pressing against your delay. It is divine urgency rising within you, asking one question: will you move? You must not wait for lightning to strike. You must not wait for another voice to echo what this one already declared. Because heaven does not repeat itself when the heart refuses to respond. And now, the page is turning. Not by force, but by fulfillment. The time of grace is still present, but the window is narrowing. And what you feel now is the last wind before the door begins to shut. The verdict has not been finalized. The ink has touched the edge of the page, but the line remains incomplete. This is mercy's final knock. This is the last nudge before silence becomes sentence. The delay was never neutral, and now it is being judged. And those who remain still when heaven calls for motion will not be punished by pain. They will be left behind by purpose. Yes, the atmosphere is thick. The pressure is rising. But this is not for your destruction. It is for your deliverance. This is the fire that forges the obedient. This is the divine discomfort that drives movement. And if you respond, the same wind that was about to close the door will become the wind that propels you through it. Do not underestimate what 72 hours can hold. Do not assume heaven will circle back again. You are not standing in a moment of reflection. You are standing on the edge of divine decision. The delay is becoming a door. The door is becoming a judgment. And you are becoming the verdict by what you choose now. Type "I will not miss my moment" in the comments if you hear this as your final warning. Blessing code 999 is activated and moving on your behalf. Now listen carefully. Still your panic, but do not still your obedience. Still your anxiety, but do not still your movement. For in the silence of this moment, God is not commanding inactivity. He is commanding alignment. Do not mistake the instruction to be still as an invitation to stay stagnant. There is a holy difference between resting in faith and retreating in fear. Heaven is not asking you to retreat. Heaven is asking you to respond. You feel the shaking. You feel the urgency. But now, the Spirit brings you into a different kind of clarity, the kind that protects as it instructs. You are not being thrown into chaos. You are being directed through the storm with divine strategy. And that strategy is not complicated. It is this: withdraw to pray, not to hide. When the tension increases, The enemy wants you to disappear into self-preservation. He wants you to second-guess what God already made clear. But this is not the hour to vanish into hesitation. This is the hour to move with precision, wrapped in the shelter of the Almighty. The Lord is your covering, and He is not watching from a distance. Peace surrounds you. He shields the obedient. He makes a way for those who move when He speaks. Yes, the shaking is real, but so is the hedge. So is the promise. So is the cloud by day and the fire by night. You are not walking into danger when you obey. You are walking into divine defense. Let your silence no longer be filled with excuses. Let it be filled with movement. Let your prayers now be full of clarity, not complaint. Let your worship now be paired with action. For this is the hour where heaven guards those who respond, not just those who reflect. The angelic army is not stationed around the idle. It is commissioned to surround the obedient. If you are feeling overwhelmed, that is not a sign to shut down. It is a sign to refocus. The burden is heavy because the assignment is sacred. The path is narrow because the purpose is holy. But you are not alone on it. The one who called you is walking it with you. And every trembling step you take in obedience is surrounded by a force far greater than the fear that tried to stop you. You do not need a new word. You need to respond to the one already spoken. You do not need to explain your delay. Heaven is not accepting explanations right now, only obedience. You do not need to justify your stillness. Heaven does not record your intentions, only your movements. And if you've been caught in a storm of self-doubt, take this moment to rise out of it. You have not been abandoned. You have not been forsaken. You have simply been delayed, and heaven is now aligning your feet with the path that never left you. Move only when peace accompanies the command. But know this, peace is not the absence of pressure. Peace is the presence of God in the middle of the pressure. So don't wait for the fear to leave before you act. Walk with trembling. Walk with questions. Walk with uncertainty, but walk. You were never called to be fearless. You were called to be faithful. And faithful steps attract favor. Even the smallest step toward obedience will ignite divine covering over your life. Do not fear the next move. Fear standing still when the Spirit already said go. Let your actions speak where your words once justified your delay. Let your surrender be loud. Let your yes echo through the halls of heaven like a war cry from a once hesitant soul who finally stood. You are not fragile. You are fortified. You are not overlooked. You are under divine watch. You are not behind. You are right at the edge of destiny's gates. And heaven waits to move with you, not without you. Be still, but not stagnant. Be wise, but not withdrawn. Be surrendered, and move. Type I am covered in the comments if you receive this divine instruction. Blessing code 1717 is now released over your obedience. Now rise, not just in body but in spirit. For the verdict is not only about your delay, it is about your decision. You're standing in the space between what was withheld and what will now be released. You are no longer the hesitant one. Heaven does not label you by your pause. Heaven labels you by your pivot. And you have pivoted. The moment you said yes, even with trembling, even with doubt, even with fear, that yes turned the key. That yes unlocked the next level. That yes broke the delay's grip. Do not look back. Do not linger in the shame of wasted time. For what once mocked you has now become the material for your mantle. The delay that once drained your strength has now turned into the fuel of your fire. What felt like a wilderness was actually a womb. You were not stuck, you were being stretched. And now, you emerge not as one who wandered, but as one who had been weaponized by wisdom. Heaven is not holding your past delay against you. It is now using it as the backdrop of your deliverance story. You must see yourself rightly. You are not behind. You are breaking through. You are not late. You are launched. This was never about the perfect timing of man, but about the precise alignment of spirit. And now, you walk in that alignment, not because everything is fixed, but because you fixed your eyes back on the one who called you. You returned. You realigned. You said yes again. And in heaven's eyes, that is enough. The chains of hesitation are shattered. The labels of the past are burning. You are stepping into a new identity, one the enemy hoped you would never reach. You are the obedient one. You are the chosen one. You are the breaker, the intercessor, the appointed. And even now, the heavens are writing a new name over your life. Faithful under fire, obedient under pressure, moved when others stood still. There is power on you now, not because you earned it, but because you obeyed. There is authority on your words, not because you know everything, but because you finally yielded everything. And where you once felt disqualified by delay, now heaven qualifies you by surrender. The grace is multiplying. The oil is flowing. The favor is rising. You are stepping into the fullness of what was always yours, but now you are ready to carry it. Do not shrink back. The same obedience that felt heavy in a waiting will feel holy in a walking. You are not walking in circles anymore. You are walking through gates. You are not repeating cycles. You are redeeming time. What was once missed is now being mended. What was once tangled is now being aligned. Your footsteps now carry weight in the spirit. Your yes has been heard, and your movement has been marked. From ashes, wings unfold. From silence, declarations rise. From delay, destiny is released. You are not merely resuming your journey. You are now ascending. You are no longer the one who almost obeyed. You are the one who rose, who moved, who stepped, who activated. You have crossed the threshold. You are in motion now, and heaven is in motion with you. This is the hour of your empowerment. You do not walk alone. You walk in rhythm with the Spirit, in step with the timing of God, in lock with the favor of the throne. Obedience is now your weapon. Alignment is now your strength. Surrender has become your strategy, and it is working. Type "I am empowered" in the comments if you feel this rising in your spirit. Blessing code 3030 has been released over your next move. And now hear what the Spirit reveals, for what was hidden is being unveiled, and what was misunderstood is being clarified. This was never about time. This was never about schedule. This was never about delay for delay's sake. This was about trust. This was about revealing the condition of your alignment, the posture of your surrender, the soundness of your yes. Heaven did not withhold from you to punish you. Heaven paused to prove you. The waiting was never about punishment. It was a proving ground wrapped in mercy. The delay was a divine mirror. It reflected back what your words couldn't say and your prayers tried to hide. It exposed what your heart truly worshipped: convenience, control, clarity. And it asked one sacred question: do you trust the command more than the comfort? And now the answer is known. You stood in the storm of silence. You endured the testing of time. And now, You are rising in the power of trust that's been refined by fire. This moment, this message, this move, it was orchestrated not just for your breakthrough, but for your revelation. What is being released over you now is not just provision. It is understanding, divine awareness, holy clarity. Your spirit is awakening to the truth. The heavens never left you. They watch. I waited. They whispered. And now, they move. Your name has been recorded, not under the title hesitant, but under the title obedient. The scribes of heaven have written it. The witnesses of the Spirit have seen it. And now, as you move, as you obey, you step into a realm not just of favor, but of double favor. A delay has birthed a double portion. A resistance has forged a double reward. What took time is now producing multiplication. You will not receive what you once lost, you will receive more. The season that seemed like punishment is now your platform. The days that felt like failure are now evidence of divine mercy. This was not about the thing you were waiting for. It was about who you were becoming while you waited. And now that your spirit has aligned, now that your feet have moved, now that your heart has opened again, the heavens are opening too. The gates you thought were locked have begun to swing. The path you feared was lost has been cleared. The barriers are breaking. The resistance is retreating. And the hand of the Lord is pointing forward, saying, Go. Walk. Take it. It is yours. This is your prophecy. Those who rise now, not next week, not next month, but now, will walk in doubled favor, in accelerated timing, and in supernatural clarity. Because heaven waited. Because mercy paused the verdict. Because grace held back the hand of consequence long enough for your spirit to respond. The proving ground has passed. The silence has ended. You have been found faithful, not because you were perfect, but because you obeyed when it counted. Now the way is open. Now the shift is final. Now the movement begins. You are no longer the one who missed it. You are the one who made it in the final hour. And heaven celebrates not just your arrival, but your surrender. Type I receive double favor in the comments if this word is yours. Lesson code 4545 is now covering you in multiplied grace. Beloved, if this word has pierced your spirit, if you felt heaven speaking directly to you through this message, then know this. You are not the only one being awakened. Souls around the world are standing at the same edge, trembling under the weight of delayed obedience. This ministry exists to reach them, to release the voice of heaven into homes, into hearts, into hidden places of pain. When you give, you aren't supporting a platform. You're releasing rivers into dry lands. Your gift becomes prophetic oil poured out over others who are one word away from breakthrough. If the Lord is stirring you to sow, do it as a response, not to man, but to heaven. Through YouTube Super Thanks, channel membership, or through the PayPal link in the description below, step into this moment as an act of obedience. And may your seed return to you as a testimony of accelerated favor, supernatural clarity, and divine release. Now that the revelation has come, now that the veil has been torn and the truth has met your spirit, there is only one direction left: forward. This is your moment of destiny activation, not emotional stirring, not temporary motivation, not another spiritual high that fades by morning. This is the divine ignition of your assignment. Heaven is not waiting for another confirmation. Heaven is waiting for your yes to become movement. And that movement must begin now. Heaven waits for your yes. Not a silent yes. Not a private whisper wrapped in fear, but a yes that resounds through your spirit. A yes that moves your feet, opens your mouth, and breaks the hesitation that's tried to paralyze you for years. This is not about feeling ready. This is about choosing obedience. Readiness is not a requirement. Willingness is. Declare it aloud. I choose divine timing over comfort. Speak it, because your voice activates what your spirit already knows. Your words are weapons. Your agreement is power. The heavens respond not to your analysis, but to your alignment. And the moment you say yes with both heart and action, the angels move on assignment. The gates open. The wind shifts. The oil flows. Because obedience opens doors faster than prayer alone. You prayed. You fasted. You waited. But now God is requiring something greater. Obedience under pressure. Obedience even when trembling. Obedience when clarity is partial and fear is present. Obedience when the people around you don't understand. Because heaven doesn't measure obedience by ease. It measures it by sacrifice. So rise. Stand up in the strength of your surrender. Shake off the false identities that delay created. You are not weak. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are chosen. You are equipped. You are called. And right now, heaven is recording every motion you make in response to this call. Every trembling step you take is weightier in the spirit than 1,000 empty declarations. Heaven doesn't count your pace, it counts your response. Move even if you stumble. Move even if you cry. Move even if you have to crawl, because heaven is not counting your speed, it's counting your surrender. You are not waiting anymore. You are awakening. You are coming alive in the place where you once felt stuck. Your destiny is not behind you. It is waiting on the other side of obedience. And now, the mantle is falling again. Not because you earned it, but because you were willing to move when God said move. Let the yes rise out of your chest like a holy roar. Let it tear through the silence. Let it shut the mouth of fear. Let it make the enemy regret the day he ever whispered, wait. You are not stuck. You are not circling. You are not confused. You are being commissioned. Your yes is being recognized. Your movement is being marked. So now, step forward. Speak when God says speak. Move when God says move. Build what He told you to build. Release what He told you to let go of. Align with who He has called you to be. Stop delaying. Stop doubting. Heaven is waiting for obedience, not perfection. Declare it. I will move. I will obey. I will activate my destiny. And as you declare it, the very fabric of your future is changing. Doors are opening. Chains are breaking. Assignments are being released. You are no longer a spectator of your calling. You are now a participant in heaven's unfolding plan. Type I activate my destiny in the comments if you are stepping into divine movement. Blessing code 6262 is surrounding your next step with angelic backing. There is a realm beyond what you see. A place where your prayers become blueprints, where your obedience becomes currency, and where your silence is not empty, but holy. And in that realm, something has already begun. While you hesitated, while you wondered, while you sat with your questions and your fears, heaven was not idle. No, heaven was holding your promise in escrow. It wasn't taken. It wasn't canceled. It was being preserved, waiting for your obedience to unlock the release. This is the mystery of the kingdom. Obedience is not just action in the natural, it is activation in the spirit. While your hands were still, your name was whispered across dimensions. While your heart wrestled with surrender, angels were dispatched to protect what was marked for you. While you were counting the cost, heaven was holding the inheritance, untouched, unspoiled, untransferred, waiting for the moment your spirit aligned again with the original command. And now, the exchange has begun. This is not symbolic. This is real. This is weighty. This is a spiritual transaction, one that cannot be seen with the natural eye but is more real than anything you've held in your hands. Your yes has triggered movement, not just in your life, but in the unseen. Assignments are being reactivated. Authority is being reinstated. Access is being restored. The very scrolls that were paused are now being re-released because your posture has shifted. Heaven has always operated by covenant, not convenience. And when your covenant was tested by time, by silence, by inner conflict, the Spirit didn't abandon you. The Spirit hovered, waiting, watching, preserving. There were moments when you felt forgotten, but you were being fought for. You were being protected not just from the enemy, but from misaligned timing. Angels warred in silence on your behalf. They stood in the space between your delay and your destiny to hold it intact, not because you were strong, but because mercy was stronger. What you didn't know is that the restlessness you felt wasn't frustration. It was your spirit sensing transfer. Something was shifting, even when nothing looked different. You were feeling the weight of what was waiting on you. You were feeling the ache of the unbirthed promise. That ache wasn't a sign you missed it. It was a sign you were being called back into alignment. It was divine agitation to shake you from stagnancy. And now, because you responded, the heavenly banks have released what was held. Your obedience is not just pleasing to God. It is a legal transaction in the courts of heaven. What was delayed will now return pressed down, shaken together, and running over. But not just in material ways, in clarity, in revelation, in authority, in peace. The exchange has happened. The ledger hath been updated. The record has shifted. You are now walking into what was preserved for you all along. Let it rise in your heart. You didn't lose it. You didn't forfeit it. It didn't go to someone else. Heaven's archive never deletes obedience. Everything God marked for you hath been waiting on the other side of your yes. And now, that yes has become a command in the Spirit, a trigger for release. A release of promises, provision, and positioning. This is the silent exchange. The moment where what was stored is now being poured. The moment where what was guarded is now being gifted. Not because you chased it, but because you finally moved when heaven spoke. Type "the exchange is mine" in the comments if you feel the weight of this release. Blessing code 3838 has now been released over your restored inheritance. Now hear this, and let it echo through your bones. The God of justice has not overlooked your process. The Judge of all creation has not ignored your delay, nor has he been passive in your return. He has watched the cost, weighed the tears, marked the battle, and now he decrees not only restoration, but reversal. The verdict hath been rewritten. The record has shifted. What the enemy labeled as forfeiture, heaven is now calling fulfillment. And not partial, but full, multiplied, and sealed with fire. For every moment you thought was lost, heaven is releasing testimony. every hour you spent wondering if it was too late. The Lord is turning that delay into a declaration. You will not be defined by your hesitation. You will be known for your return. The spiritual scales are tipping, and your obedience has become the weight that shifts them in your favor. This is not wishful thinking. This is divine legislation. What was written as almost has now been marked approved. The penalty that was forming because of silence is now nullified by the roar of your yes. The doors that were closing have now paused mid-swing, reopening by the hand of divine mercy. You are being reversed, not back into delay but forward into destiny. This is justice in action, not just for your sake, but for every plan that was divinely connected to your assignment. There is a prophetic law unfolding now, that the things which mocked you in delay will now marvel at your deliverance. The same people, systems, and spirits that doubted your ability to move, to obey, to carry out what was entrusted to you, they will now witness the weight of your calling with awe. God is turning the tables. He is flipping the narrative. You are stepping into the season where the doubters become witnesses, and the loss becomes legacy. Every act of surrender has been recorded in the throne room, and now recompense is being released. The Lord says, you did not lose time. You gained oil. You did not fall behind. You were fortified. You did not fail. You were being formed. And now, the formation has become fulfillment. This is the turning. This is the reversal. This is the moment where the pain of obedience is overtaken by the glory of justice. Yes, the silence was heavy. Yes, the weight was unbearable. But the verdict has shifted, and it has shifted in your favor. Where there was delay, now there is divine acceleration. Where there was confusion, now there is crystal clarity. Where there was weariness, now there is supernatural strength. God is not just giving you what you lost. He's giving you what you couldn't have carried until now. This is more than restoration. This is divine reward. And know this: the same Spirit who whispered correction now shouts your promotion. The heaven that once paused in waiting now moves in force. Angels are on assignment, and the command has been released. Crown the faithful. Elevate the obedient. Honor the returning. You are not being tolerated. You are being celebrated. The heavens are no longer waiting on your yes. They are moving in response to it. And the shift will not be subtle. It will be public. The reversal will not be quiet. It will be marked. Those who underestimated your obedience will now be stunned by your elevation. And they will say, surely, the Lord has vindicated them. Type I receive justice and reversal in the comments if your spirit bears witness to this. Blessing code 4646 is restoring all that was lost, and more. And now, beloved, we reach the end, not of the message, but of the moment that tested your soul. You've walked through fire, but you have not been burned. You've stood at the edge of surrender, but you did not fall into failure. You were pressed, but not broken. Delayed, but not denied. And now, heaven releases this final decree. You are sealed, seen, and sent. Let this be written in the scrolls and carved into your spirit. Delay was never divine. It was not a gift. It was not a shield. It was not wisdom masquerading as stillness. It was disobedience in disguise. But the mercy of the Most High God tore back the veil, called your name again, and gave you the opportunity to rise, and you did. That one act of obedience has shifted everything. Not because you were perfect, but because you responded. May the Spirit of wisdom now guide your next step, not with fear, not with hesitation, but with the clarity of one who has heard from heaven and answered. You are no longer wondering. You are walking. You are no longer waiting for a sign. You are the sign, a signal, the proof that God still redeems delay and resurrects dormant destinies. You are not being given a second chance. You are being given a supernatural reset. You are shielded by grace, not because of your record, but because of His mercy. You are seen by heaven, not because you made noise, but because you made movement. You are sealed for purpose. The enemy can no longer accuse you with delay. The heavens have marked you by obedience. Do not return to old patterns. Do not let old voices seduce you back into spiritual apathy. The door hath been opened, the wind has shifted, and the way hath been made. You are no longer on trial. You are being released into testimony. You are no longer circling. You are crossing into promise. The blood still speaks for you, and the angels still war on your behalf. The verdict is in. The seal is closed. The blessing is permanent. So walk with boldness. Move with reverence. Build with urgency. Speak with fire. Because you are not just carrying destiny, you are walking evidence of the mercy of God in motion. You have crossed the line. You have answered the call. And now, every step you take is not just for you. It is for generations that will follow your example of obedience under pressure. You are sealed. You are seen. You are sent. Now rise, warrior of obedience. The final verdict has been cast, and your surrender was not counted as failure. It was counted as faith. Type "I am sealed" and send in the comments if this word has marked you. Blessing code 7070 is now resting over your next assignment. If this message has shifted something in you, if you felt the fire of God reignite your spirit, if your yes was sealed by what was spoken, then let me ask you to help us carry this word even further. This mission isn't about numbers. It's about souls at the edge of a verdict, just like you were. Your giving helps us put these prophetic messages in the hands of those standing between surrender and failure. When you sow into this voice, through Super Thanks, channel membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you're not just supporting content. You're funding deliverance. You're planting into breakthrough. And just like heaven has responded to your obedience, may it respond to your generosity. May your seed open gates, stir angels, and bring forth harvests you didn't even know were waiting. Give now, not as a donation, but as a declaration. A holy yes in the realm of generosity.